Hey y'all, from Spindle Mountain Mercantile. I am Heather. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Are y'all afraid of paint inlays the same way I am? I mean, I've tried them, but it's still scary. I kind of have messed up a lot, and I get afraid to open a new book because I don't want to waste it. And then I got this book. It's called Spring Melody. It's in the new Iron Orchid Designs Spring 2025 release, and oh, you guys, it is so beautiful. Look at these designs. And I thought, I have to learn how to do this the right way. And even if I don't do it the right way, I have to make my way work because I want to use these. I love all of the paint inlays, and I love that I can reuse them. And, you know, they look faded a little bit more each time, but I gotta try it. So here we go. Project number 1. I was painting some baskets for another project that's in the works, and as I was painting them, the delivery man brought my new spring line of IOD 2025, and of course I stopped what I was doing and I opened up the box and I squealed so many times, and I saw these paint inlays and I knew I had to try them. And of course at the same time my mind is on the baskets, and I thought, you know what, people talk all the time about how you can do these on different textures, so I'm gonna try it on this basket. I finished giving it one really good coat, and then when it was dry, I gave it another small coat of Debbie's DIY paint in the color beadboard, and it's water soluble, and they say that that's important, although if you wait till the end of this video, my last project, you'll be surprised at what I do with something that's not water soluble. So after it's dry, I added one coat. It's kind of somewhere between thick and thin. You just gotta figure that out. And I cut out this cute little bunny and I sprayed it. And I make sure you put the side down that has the paint on it. Yeah, we learned that lesson later. And then I grabbed a little paintbrush and I just dabbed it. I started kind of in the middle at the top and I worked my way out, and then I went back to the middle and worked my way out more. You see how I'm doing that? I think that's the best way to make sure you get every little crevice without a bunch of cracks. Now, I like cracks. I want it to look kind of chippy. And I thought after I was done with this, I'll just paint it over because I know I'm not going to like it. Oh my goodness, you guys. After I sprayed it, so I let it dry and then I sprayed it. After I sprayed it, I dabbed it with my finger, and then I grabbed a cloth and I just dabbed up the wet, and then I started peeling it back. And when I started my channel, I swore I wasn't going to use some words that other YouTubers use because it drives me crazy when they say them so much. But there is no other word to say other than this was satisfying. It was so satisfying to peel that back. There was a couple of places, just mostly by the ears, where I didn't think it got enough color, so I laid it back down and I re-wet it and I let it sit, and I did the same process again. And you guys, it was so cute. After it was done, I just tied a bow on the basket and I'm keeping it just like this. How cute is this? Project number 2. Of course, I went to Ollie's after Christmas and took advantage of their huge clearance sale. If you guys don't ever go to Ollie's for your crafting, you're missing out. It's OLLIES, and they have great stuff. So I removed the hardware and I also took off the floral arrangement. Then I started painting with Debbie's DIY chalk paint in the color beadboard. I only painted this part of it because I thought I'd leave the bottom, but then I decided how much I loved the paint inlay and I thought it needed to be white all over. So I just kept going. Oh, and if you don't have one of these tools, you need to go grab one because this is the easiest way to remove staples and nails and stuff. I'll leave a link to this in the description to my Amazon. If you buy anything using that link, I will get a small little reward from Amazon, but it won't raise your price. Okay, back to painting. So you want to make sure you coat the entire surface and let it dry. And then you add a thin to kind of thick coat of paint before you put your paint inlay down. Now see that? Pay attention to that because I'll show you just in a little blurb later what happened. Ugh, it's awful. I'm so embarrassed. You get your paint inlay wet with just spray water on it and you put it down, paint side down, and you let it dry. You press it down. You can use a brayer, which IOD sells those, and you can pick them up at Amazon and other places too. And you just press out the water, I guess I don't know what the point is, but you press it down and then you let it dry all the way. It might seem a little redundant, but once it's dry, you get it wet again. So you spray it and then you let it sit for about 30 seconds. I had to use this little tool to get a corner lifted up. And then when you pull it back, the magic happens and it is awesome. Now this happened because I put the paint side down, right? Okay, well, there, bunny worked, and let's do this little strip. And okay, yep, that one worked. And what do we have next? That one worked, and there we go. There's the one. Put the paint side up. Don't do that. I wrote to my friend Sabrina and I said, hey, how did you make that bow? The one with all the strips. She gave me a link to a couple of her different videos. You guys, if you aren't following Sabrina at Sabrina's Craft Nanigans, you're missing out. You know, sometimes you guys tell me how fun I am and how it makes you feel good. Well, who do you think I go to when I need to feel good and listen to somebody fun? I go listen to Sabrina. She is a hoot. Her style is quite a bit different than mine, but so many different aspects of what she does I can incorporate into what I do, and vice versa. She did some really cute shabby chic hearts the other day and I was so impressed. That girl, I bet she could do anything. But anyway, go watch her channel and follow her. She needs to be a huge YouTube star. She makes me feel good. So I cut all these strips, and right here, I'm sorry, it's out of view, but can you see what I did? These are the parts of the bow part of it that will hang down. I just took 2 pieces of burlap and I dovetailed them. And I'm taking all of these different strips, and some of them are a little bit longer so I can have loops on them to make it look like a bow. And I just laid all of those down on top of a string, well, a twine, like hemp twine. And I added some pearls in there, some little black ribbon, just different pieces of drop cloth threads that I had pulled to fray something. I always like to save those. If you pull them off in a big chunk, then it's like having a whole new thing of thread or twine. By the way, those birds up there, that's just a transfer I got out of one of the new books. It's called Katharina with a C. So I took the twine and I just wrapped it around all of my loops and little strings, and I tied it in a square knot, left over right, right over left, and then I floofed it a bunch, and I just glued it right down to the top of the burlap ribbon. And then I cut around one of these little rosettes I found. It comes in a ribbon, and I found them at Hobby Lobby. Make sure to buy them when they're on sale. And here it is. I just glued it down right on the top of that, and oh my goodness, this is so cute. Oh, by the way, I did add some Haint Blue cottage color from Debbie's DIY on that cross at the bottom. You can seal this with Debbie's DIY Big Top, but I wanted this to look really old, so I took an old can of clear spray paint in matte, and I went outside where it was damp and cold, and I sprayed it, and I left it outside to dry, and it kind of turned crackly, and it got some blotches on it, and that's the look I like sometimes. But you don't have to make it look old. You can make it look brand new. This is just what I prefer. Project number 3. I forgot to take a before picture of this little green box, so I just slowed down some video from later. It's an old box. I don't have the key for it. I thought, you know, if I ruin this, it's not like it'll be a huge problem, but I want it to still look old. So here's what I did, and this is not the preferred way. This is not the way the company tells you how to do it. This is just something I wanted to do because I thought it might be fast and easy, and it was, and I love how it turned out. I sprayed it with Rust-Oleum 2x clear in matte, and I sprayed it really heavily, and then I laid the dry paint inlay down over it with the paint side down and I just kept kind of pulling it back to see if the paint was sticking to it, and when I was satisfied that it was, I just slowly pulled it back. Now remember, that paint is not all the way dry, or the spray is not all the way dry, and I love how this turned out. There was one little place where I thought it needed some more, but now that I'm looking at it again on the film, I don't think I needed to do this part right here. It looked really old and chippy, and that's what I wanted, because this box was old and chippy, and I wanted it to look like this had been there forever. Now, there are other people who use Debbie's DIY liquid patina in crystal clear to do this, and it looks awesome. There's a lot of different ways you can do this without following the manufacturer instructions for a paint inlay. And if you have little scraps, I totally recommend you experiment with it and try something new. I love this, and I'm going to do it a skillion more times. I love the roses, so I wanted to try adding them to the front. When they first came out, I did the same exact method, except I think I used a little bit too much spray for the front, and right here I'm just wiping it down because I didn't want the drips on the side. And that ring is my light ring, it's not paint, so I didn't get that part bad. Now this one I sprayed, and that could have been the difference too, so I will experiment with this more and let you know what the difference is. And I just noticed I got some of that water on the surface when I was spraying it, so I probably shouldn't have done that, huh? Anyway, you just get to see more of my experiment and how it worked. I'm rubbing it down really firmly, and again, I'm not going to let it dry all the way. I don't think I let it dry quite enough. I tucked this other rosebud underneath. I cut it where the stem was, so it would just go right to the big rose, and I let it dry enough. It was a smaller piece, so that was probably why. But hey, live and learn. I still love how it turned out. I think it looks old. I sanded it just a tiny bit to get it to not have some of the lines where the paint was. Here's where I did something different too than what I did on the top. I sprayed this to get it wet. I don't think I should have done that. I was thinking I wasn't gonna, I don't know what I was thinking, you guys, seriously. I videoed this like hours ago, and now I'm doing the voiceover. You cannot expect me to remember all the things. So it's really, really chippy. So I laid it back down, rubbed it some more. It's a little bit more of it came down. I rubbed pretty hard. I kept trying that. Some more came down. But again, it turned out good. I like it. I will do it maybe a little bit different next time, but I wouldn't hate if an old chippy box turned out the way this looks like an old chippy box. I kind of like it. I really like it. I love it. And here it is with all its beautiful chippiness. So like always, I want to know if you guys had a favorite. I liked them all for different reasons. I love these baskets, and I'm going to make more of these. And again, stay tuned so you can see what I do with them. And that chippy box, I would have those all over my house. I want to have storage like that, like in my pantry and my she shack in my bedroom. And the little door, it's just so cute to decorate with. So fun. I love that bow Sabrina taught me how to make. Ah. Okay, so if you liked this, please give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel. You don't want to miss all this fun chippiness. You don't want to miss me saying chippy. You could make a drinking game out of it. I'm not suggesting you get drunk. I'm just suggesting you have like some orange juice or something, okay? And or water. Have some water. Play the hydrating game. Every time you hear me say chippy, take a drink of water. You'll probably lose like 10 pounds in a week. I like the word chippy. Okay, I hope you guys have a wonderful week until you see me again next time. And as always, I hope you are blessed. Bye.